My husband Larry will inherit the house, the $5 million, and the director position. When Julie heard a lawyer was there for Kyle's inheritance proceedings, she couldn't hide her joy. She walked into the living room like she owned the place. Julie, who always asked about the inheritance, and if it was done yet, must have been eagerly waiting for this day. Ignoring me, she went straight to the lawyer. The old me would have told her off, but as Julie turned her back to me, I couldn't wait to hear what she'd say next. Her greedy comments were even worse than I expected, and I laughed out loud, holding my stomach. The lawyer looked stunned, and I kept laughing at Julie's boldness. Julie didn't think it was funny and gave me a cold look. "Do you really think you'll get your father-in-law's inheritance?" I laughed at her obsession with money and her dramatic attitude. Pointing to the late-arriving Larry, she raised her voice. "The right to inherit belongs to my husband, Larry." I took a deep breath, ready to tell her the truth. "My name is Lauren, and I am 62 years old. I have been a full-time housewife, supporting my doctor husband Kyle for a long time. Even after becoming a director, he always kept working, never tired." Larry grew up watching his father and decided to follow the same path. I believe my husband had a happy and fulfilling life. However, my husband passed away at the age of 65. He was passionate about his work and believed being a doctor was his calling. Maybe his sudden death was due to overworking, but at his funeral, I felt he had no regrets. Not just his superiors and colleagues, but also subordinates and others, came to the funeral. The venue was packed with people mourning him. It wasn't just medical professionals who attended. Many patients he had treated in the past came to pay their respects. I didn't know exactly how he worked, since I only saw Kyle going to and from his job every day. But seeing how much he was loved reassured me that he had done the right things in his life. At the somber funeral, Julie, the eldest son's wife, seemed restless and out of place. Her face relaxed almost as if she was happy about her father-in-law's death. My suspicions were confirmed when I overheard her talking with relatives. My father-in-law was always working. I think he might have saved quite a lot since he probably didn't have much time to spend money, she said. Hearing such a statement right behind me, I couldn't believe my ears. Despite being in the middle of a funeral, Julie seemed more concerned about how her father-in-law's inheritance would be divided. Perhaps she didn't know that a daughter-in-law might not have any inheritance rights. Even so, her behavior wasn't appropriate for the funeral. Seeing her actions, Larry, the eldest son, apologized to me with a guilty look. "Mom, I'm truly sorry. No matter how many times I tell her, Julie doesn't listen." "It's not your fault, Larry. But if you feel that way, can you please firmly warn her? Many people are attending this event." I knew about Julie's behavior even before Larry mentioned it. Remembering her inexcusable attitude, I recalled how she didn't help at all while I was busy with my husband's funeral preparations. She didn't offer me any words of comfort or sympathy. To make matters worse, she was always talking about the money, asking things like, "Your husband had quite an inheritance, right? How much was it? Even if you're his wife, it's his inheritance, so don't waste it, okay? Did you come here just to say that? Is that all you have to say?" "Well, yeah, if you squander it just because you don't have long to live, I'll be in trouble." Anger and disbelief flooded over me as Julie spoke as if my late husband's assets belonged to her. Moreover, she always looked down on me and was sarcastic. I don't know why she dislikes me so much, but her comments about other people's assets have often left me disheartened. My son Larry was inspired by his father and became a doctor. Larry's earnings are not bad, but Julie has always been overly obsessed with money. She'd often call me saying things like, "I'm worried about our future with Larry's low income," or "We're short on money," hinting that she wanted financial help. Because of this, getting along with her was very challenging. I used to let things slide, but now she's targeting my husband's inheritance, and I've reached my limit. Larry's income is really unstable, so we don't have much money to spend freely. We can't afford luxuries." "Oh, really? Why don't you work then? That would help with the household expenses, and you could afford some luxuries." "What? It's ridiculous for a doctor's wife to work. You're lucky since your husband earned well, and you could live comfortably." No matter how many times I tried to advise her, her attitude only worsened, and our arguments became more heated. She wouldn't even hesitate to belittle her own husband, Larry, just to look down on me. From her perspective, I'm her mother-in-law, but once married, we're family. I couldn't stand the way she treated family members with such disrespect. Thanks to my husband, I've been able to live comfortably. If she wanted the same, maybe she should respect and support her husband a bit more. If there was something about Larry to respect, then maybe. Anyway, I'm off to get my nails done and have a spa day. Don't forget about the inheritance, okay? Bye now. She just blurted out whatever she wanted and promptly left the house. Given her stormy behavior, I began to wonder how Larry was treated at home. But her self-centered actions didn't end there. During the inheritance proceedings, she continued her bad behavior, which became increasingly intolerable. Even after the funeral was over, every time she visited, she'd greet me with, "How's the inheritance coming along?" It felt like a standard greeting. Despite explaining several times that the process takes time, she either forgets or doesn't understand and constantly pressures me whenever she sees me. I've told her multiple times that she has no rights to the inheritance, but she just doesn't seem to get it. Whether she believes Larry's money is hers or has some other scheme in mind, she seems convinced she'll inherit a fortune. After discussing with Larry, or rather manipulating the conversation to her advantage, she probably intends to get a share of the inheritance. If that was all, it would be a family matter for Larry to handle. But her actions affect everyone involved, making the situation much more complicated and stressful. I shouldn't interfere, but Julie tried to steal valuable things from our house. "Julie, what are you doing?" "That's my necklace." "Oh, come on, don't be so stingy. We're family, so it's okay, right?" "I can't be friends with someone who would steal from me." "Fine then, I'll take it as an advance on the inheritance." "That's okay, right? I am being patient here." No matter how many times I told her not to act like that, she wouldn't listen to me. From the moment she took my cherished necklace, a gift from my husband, I couldn't stand it. After that, I never opened the door for her again. Even though Larry frequently messaged saying, "Mom, I'm truly sorry for Julie," he couldn't stop her. I gave up expecting anything from Larry or Julie. I didn't even have time to grieve the loss of the necklace as her harassment continued. She badmouthed me to her friends and others, calling me the worst mother-in-law who won't even let her in the house. The neighbors would say, "It looks tough," with a smile, but they showed concern. I don't understand why she hates me so much. It gives me a headache. What hurt the most was a letter I found in our mailbox. I felt disgusted just by seeing the already opened envelope. When I checked its contents, it was addressed to Larry and his wife. Whether it's Julie's idea of harassment because I won't let her in, her credit card bill was in our mailbox. Seeing the statement filled with extravagant expenses from luxury restaurants and online shopping made my blood run cold. "Larry, there's a credit card bill for Julie in our mailbox. It was already opened and checked. What's the meaning of this?" "Huh? I have no idea. It seems like she has spent a lot. She always talks about her income to me. Is everything okay?" "Well, it's actually tough. Mom, I'm sorry to ask, but could you pay it for us?" Wanting to complain, I contacted Larry. However, whether under Julie's influence or due to the power dynamics in his household, he said something unbelievable, leaving me speechless. I wondered why I needed to help them. Why would he even think I'd assist them? He can't even retrieve the cherished necklace from his wife. What is he even saying? I also harshly criticized his behavior, which seemed to only remember things convenient for him. "I've already done my part in supporting you as a parent. Why would an adult like you burden their parent and ask for help? Well, we have Dad's inheritance, right? You won't be able to use it all by yourself. Please, I thought you'd help. There's a saying about a thief acting brazenly after committing theft, and now I get it. Larry, you and Julie are really a match made in heaven. I'm cutting ties. Stay away from me. I could tell from the other end of the phone that he wasn't taking what I was saying seriously. I was so furious with his attitude. After hanging up, I immediately threw the bill into the trash. The idea that Julie might have deliberately put it in our mailbox, assuming I'd pay, was unbelievable. Most of all, it was an inconceivable act and made me question her as a person. Do you think I haven't thought about it? Is there really a way to get the inheritance? Kyle, what should I do? I asked my husband's photo, picking it up unconsciously. From my anger and disappointment towards Larry and Julie, I've lost understanding of how to handle my emotions. Is it really okay to proceed with the inheritance as it is? Amidst my insecurities, I somehow gathered courage. I hope someday they get what they deserve. Frustrated by their appalling behavior, I dealt with the inheritance proceedings alone. Perhaps my feelings got through, as I found out my husband had left a will, and in it, something was written. After reading the will my husband left behind, I resolved to protect myself and get back at them. Phew, I'm glad it seems Kyle was on my side after all. Thank you, I whispered, holding back tears and pressing the will to my chest. I regained my composure. I clenched my fist, deciding I wouldn't just do nothing and let those two dictate things. I decided to wait for the right moment to make a big move against them. Maybe because I felt relieved at the thought of being able to retaliate for all the suffering, I completely forgot about Julie's bill. I would have thrown it away from the start, not intending to pay, but she must have received a reminder. This time, I received a message from her, even though I had told her the inheritance proceedings were not yet completed. There were false accusations that I wanted to control everything. Her words seemed to attack me. It's because you haven't settled the inheritance yet. I'll wait a little longer, but please do it as soon as possible. Oh, by the way, you saw the bill I left in the mailbox, right? Please make that payment. What are you talking about? Stop joking. Why do you think you're entitled to the inheritance? Oh, come on. Larry is the eldest son, right? It's only natural for him to get an inheritance, isn't it? Do they think I know nothing? Julie scoffed and said with a smirk, Larry has a right to inherit because he's the eldest son. In general, this is not incorrect. Even after Julie said all this, I still haven't told them the important thing. Even if I don't tell them, it's their own problem, and they should naturally know about it. But for them, who only think conveniently, it might be hard to realize. I'm waiting for the perfect moment when they fall apart, watching for the right timing. And finally, that time came. It was when I had explained the situation to the lawyer, and after the proceedings were finished with his cooperation, I finalized the plan. I will contact Larry when the procedure is complete. After discussing with the lawyer, to me it's just a routine communication. But as expected, Julie came to my house with a face filled with joy. I deliberately left the front door unlocked. Without any suspicion, she opened the door and stomped in. Seeing her, I could hardly hold back my laughter. I've been waiting for so long. Isn't it terrible? You've been reluctant to complete the procedure and won't give up the inheritance. Oh, Julie, what brings you here? Is this gentleman the lawyer? I am July, Larry's wife. Ignoring me completely, she headed straight to the lawyer sitting in front of me. Normally, I would reprimand her for such rude behavior, but this time I held back and waited. She turned her back on me, ignoring me, and approached the lawyer. I was excited to hear what she would say next. Finally, we will inherit this house, $5 million, and the director's position because Larry is the eldest son, she said. Her greedy remark was more than I expected, and I laughed out loud, holding my stomach. The audacity of her and the lawyer's stunned face made it even funnier, and I kept laughing. Of course, Julie didn't find the situation amusing and glared at me coldly. "Hey, what's so funny? Are you upset that we are taking the inheritance?" "No, why? 5 million? How did you come up with that amount?" "Come on, your husband worked as a doctor for a long time, right? He probably didn't have time to spend money. It's obvious that there's that much money. Unless, have you already used it?" I genuinely laughed at her obsession with money. "Whatever I choose to do with my inheritance is my business, and you have no right to complain. However, it seems she doesn't like the idea of me inheriting. How many times have I told you, since you don't have much longer to live, don't do anything reckless? Even if you're related by marriage, it's quite something to say that to me, your elder. Didn't I tell you that you have no right to inherit?" Julie, wearing the necklace she stole from me, glared at me sharply. I have no intention of letting her take anything more precious from me. I made up my mind not to lose to her, who is self-centered, greedy, and obsessed with money. I clenched my fist. Pointing to the late-arriving Larry, Julie exclaimed loudly, "The right to inherit belongs to my husband, Larry." Taking a deep breath, I decided to tell them the truth. "You see, there shouldn't be any inheritance for you two to claim. Larry, isn't that right?" "Huh? Why, Mom? What do you mean?" "Oh, don't you have any idea? Aren't you forgetting something?" "Wait, are you talking about that issue? It was resolved a long time ago, wasn't it?" "Duh! What are you even talking about? Truly disappointing. What have you made amends for? What's resolved? Don't talk nonsense." "Wait a minute. What are you talking about?" I was taken aback by her demeanor, as if she had completely forgotten or knew nothing about the issue, even though it was a situation she caused. It seemed she couldn't remember it. I decided to explain the situation in detail for them to understand. Larry had married Julie a few years back. However, before that, he was already married to another woman and had a child with her. Despite having a family, he neglected them to have an affair with Julie. After their affair, Larry and Julie got married. The truth came out when Larry came begging Kyle, unable to pay alimony and child support on his own. "Larry, what were you thinking? I never thought you would stoop this low. I had no other choice if I wanted to marry Julie." "What are you saying? You're the one who committed the wrongdoing. Even if you are my son, don't expect me to pay for your mistakes. Larry, take responsibility and sort it out." "Why? You can help me a bit. As a doctor, you are constantly working and don't have time to spend money, so you must have some to spare, right?" Larry's audacious remark pushed my husband's anger to its peak. When Larry started making excuses about being overwhelmed with newlywed life and needing money for their wedding, my husband decided to cast aside his feelings as a parent and choose his grandchild instead. "Fine, I'll pay on your behalf. There's no need for my grandchild to suffer because of a terrible father like you." "Dad, don't say it in such a sarcastic way. I'm your son, you know." "Exactly, that's the point. And in exchange, I won't support you in any way from now on. And of course, don't expect to inherit a single thing from me." Larry probably thought that my husband's words were just declarations made in the heat of the moment. But my husband believed that someone who abandons their family doesn't deserve to be celebrated. He neither attended the wedding nor offered any support. "Dad, just let it go. In the future, you'll rely on us for care, right? We are family, so try to compromise a bit." "No way. Why would I bother with someone like you?" Knowing that his father had money, Larry had previously mentioned the need for future care and requested support. However, my husband didn't listen to Larry's words, and as he declared, he made sure it was written in his will. It clearly stated that everything should go to his wife and grandchild. My husband, with his strict personality, had meticulously written and prepared the will to ensure that not even a small amount of money would go to Larry and his wife. This fact became known when my husband's lawyer showed the will during the funeral proceedings. He said he had received the will from my husband in advance. Remembering the anger at that time brings up emotions, but I deeply thanked my husband for his foresight and protection. My husband left a will stating that even though Larry is his son, he does not have the right to inherit his father's estate. When the lawyer read the contents of the will, Larry and Julie were shocked. I decided to add insult to injury. "Oh, by the way, Julie, you took things from our house, right? You said it was like an advance on the inheritance. But you heard the will the lawyer read, right? You have no rights, so give it back. It was a gift from my husband to me." I pointed to the necklace she was wearing. She threw the necklace at me with a visibly angry attitude, clicking her tongue and glaring at me. Probably because the lawyer was present, she couldn't say anything reckless. I didn't hear about this. I thought I'd finally get my father-in-law's inheritance. I came all the way here today. What's going on? Really? When you announced your marriage, you said being pursued meant you were more attractive, so it was inevitable, right? You knew what you were getting into when you got with him while he already had a family. I remembered how furious I was at her attitude back then. I used to think Larry was deceived by such a terrible woman, but now I realize they are a perfectly matched couple. I will definitely inherit. Oh, there is the hospital. It would be troublesome if the director was absent, right? This kind of succession is usually done by the son. Too bad, it's already been handed over to a competent subordinate. Huh? Why? Isn't it normal for the son to take over? Ha ha! To begin with, you're doing something that's not normal, right? It's your own doing. Realize that you're not the norm. She was desperate for the inheritance, whether it be the hospital or the house. In the end, she clung to the lawyer, asking, "Then what can I get?" But the lawyer my husband had contracted wouldn't easily tell her. He repeatedly explained the contents of the will, stating, "The two of you have no inheritance rights," and responded calmly, "This is unbelievable. I don't believe it. It must be a mistake." Really, no matter how much you fuss, nothing will change. Even if you sue, you'll just end up embarrassed. If you're okay with that, feel free to do so. Perhaps finding my cold treatment unbearable, she stormed out of the house with a face as red as a boiled octopus. I watched her leave with Larry. I held the necklace and quietly pumped my fist in triumph. After that, she never contacted me or visited the house again, and the inheritance procedures were completed smoothly. I was worried they would confront Larry's ex-wife, who has a grandchild, but Larry, who doesn't even pay child support, wouldn't know her contact details, so there were no issues. Larry and Julie, who didn't get any inheritance, seemed to be having a big quarrel. Julie told Larry, "I married you thinking I would get a big inheritance from your father," and they are apparently on the brink of divorce. The saying, "end of money, end of love," fits them perfectly. I only received one contact from Larry, saying, "Give me the money or house you inherited," but I naturally ignored it. I exclaimed, "Don't talk nonsense while you're awake," and hung up the phone. I sighed, wondering where I went wrong raising my son, but there was also good news. A letter arrived from Larry's ex-wife stating that the inheritance procedures were completed. In it, along with an update, there was a photo of my cute grandchild and words of gratitude. "Thank you for being such wonderful grandparents," it said. "They are living very happily now." The grandchild my husband had been concerned about until the end is growing up healthy and living happily with her new father. There was also a lovely family photo in the letter, and although I felt guilt as a parent, my mood was brightened and my heart warmed. I was very happy and immediately read the letter in front of my husband's altar to report to him. I was continuously disappointed by Larry's actions and words. However, I was able to report to my husband about the grandchild, which always brought a smile to his face, and I was happy and satisfied.